Hi guys, my name is Margaret and I'm the owner of Outer Beauty. I just wanted to hop on and introduce myself and say thank you so much for purchasing my first online class. This is going to be how I edit my photos, so I'm showing you everything from how I set up my room to how I take and store my photos to then how I edit them. So I do use Apple products, so if you use PC or Android, I'm not sure how these apps will work on them, but I hope you still do learn something. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I will put my Instagram and email on the screen here. But yes, let's get into it.
Okay guys, so here's the list of the main apps that I use. I have the Apple iPad Pro 13-inch with the Apple Pencil. I bought them in June 2020. I just love having the big screen for editing so I can see every little detail. I can't edit on my phone. I just need a bigger screen. But if you can't upgrade to an iPad right now, I know that on Amazon they sell like knockoff Apple pencils that you can use on your phone, and that will make it much easier to edit rather than using your finger. So quickly going through the list, I use some free apps and some paid ones. The first one is TouchRetouch. This is $3.99. It's one of my most used apps, and I will show you guys later in detail how I use each app. Procreate is $9.99 and also one of my most used apps. Canva is free, but I do pay for their monthly subscription for $12.99. You can just upload your brand identity easier and you get access to more templates with the membership. So CapCut is free. I use it to edit TikToks and videos. Dropbox, I pay $11.99 per month for extra storage. I will never run out of space on there. And then Facetune, I use the free feature so I don't pay for it. Okay, I'm gonna start by showing you how I organize my Dropbox and how I use it. So my Dropbox is my bestie. You can definitely use other cloud programs, but I prefer Dropbox. I love being able to access work documents or photos from any device. I went a little bit crazy with my organization at first, but it makes my life so much easier, which is why I wanted to make it a point to put it in this video. It's super easy for me to find anything that I need. So the first folder is client pictures. Every client gets their own folder, whether they come in for a consult or a procedure, but I was taught to take before and after pictures for every single client just to protect yourself. And then of course you can use those photos for marketing. If a client messes with your work or goes to someone else and says they didn't, you have photos to show. That's never happened to me, but I've just seen that on the Facebook forums. Even if a client doesn't want you to use their photos on social media, still take pictures and just tell them it's for your insurance. When you upload photos on Dropbox, it uploads with the date the photo was taken, so it's really nice. You can go back and see your growth as an artist, see what the brows look like fresh versus healed down the road. You can check your progress pictures. I have each folder labeled with the client's name. I'm just not showing you that page for privacy. But if they don't want their pictures posted, I write NP next to their name, just for no pictures. And that way, if I'm lacking content in the future and I'm going to look for photos, I know what folders to avoid. And then next I have consent forms. I have paper versions and online consent forms. I use Jotform for my online consent forms. Some people just don't like online, so I like to have all my consent forms on my phone. So whenever someone fills out the paper form, I take a picture of it and then I upload it to that folder just so I have access to all of them. Creative is the next folder. This is all my brand identity, all my print material, things like that. I have all my old branding in the archive folder and then my current ones in the other folder. So in here I have all my color swatches, all my fonts, my watermark, everything. So if I'm on a different device, I have everything I need. And then I used to have a graphic designer and editor, so that's what this editing folder is from. Our process was I would upload all the photos on Dropbox and then go through them and select the ones that I wanted her to edit. And I would upload all those into a folder called To Be Edited. She would go straight to there and edit whatever was in there, and then would put them in a folder called To Be Posted, and that's where I would go check to see if they were edited how I liked them, or if I was gonna post, I would grab it from there, or if she was posting, I would write captions in the notes. So it's really nice, really easy to use with different people. You can share all your folders, you can share only certain folders, so it's very nice. The Instagram archive folder is also from her. If she posted on Instagram, she would just put it in that folder, so I had the original copy still. Legal documents, that's past tax information, any business forms I might need. Photography, this is just action shots of me working. Sharing is just a random folder that I made to share things with my sister so she could edit some things for me. Tips is my dump folder. I don't know if I'm the only one who does this, but I will see business tips on Facebook groups or Instagram or random websites, and I screenshot them thinking that's a great idea. But then I never go back to look at them because they're just random screenshots of my camera roll. So I've started uploading them into this tips folder, and if I'm lacking creativity or if I'm bored, I just scroll through there and look over everything I thought might be useful. And then training class, that's the last in-person class I took. My trainer let us record some of her working. Videos is videos of clients that I use for TikTok or Instagram. I do upload them in their individual client folders, but I also like to have a separate video folder in case I want to post a TikTok. I can just go straight there instead of having to scroll through everyone's individual folder looking for videos. Lastly, I have website. This folder was from last time I redid my website. I went in before and moved everything over that I was thinking of using on my website so that it was super easy when I was creating my website to just go in that folder and have pictures to choose from. I know that on the iPhone you can create folders, but I just get overwhelmed with everything in my camera roll, so I love Dropbox, and I'm very glad I did this at the beginning so I can keep everything separate. So this is how my room is set up right now. I have 2 lights by my bed. This first one is from Lume Cube and it's cordless and comes with batteries, so it's super nice. You can adjust the brightness, and then I just have the phone hook on. I don't always record myself working, but sometimes I do, so it's nice to just have it set up. I love that it's cordless. It was a little more expensive, but it's honestly worth it because it's just so easy to move. And it's really nice keeping the floor clear. My other light is mounted because I love a clear floor. I just love being able to move around my bed freely. So the mount and the light are both from Amazon. Usually I'll work with just my mounted light on because the battery pack only lasts like 3 hours, which is like one service. But I'll turn it on if I'm struggling to see or for pictures. And then out in the hallway, you can see this kind of gray color. And that's what my room used to be. But I was noticing a green hue on my photos, so I painted it this nice neutral cream color, and it really brightened up my photos. This paint is called Swiss Coffee by Bear. Okay guys, so before we get into the editing process, I wanted to show you my favorite features on the apps, so the videos will make more sense. I am just showing you my process with my photos. So like I said, I take 100 photos, different angles, different zooms, everything like that, and then I upload them all to Dropbox. Once they're all uploaded, I'll go through them on my phone and delete the ones that I don't want, and then I'll airdrop the ones that I'm considering editing to my iPad. Then I will delete them all off my phone. This is how I keep everything separate. Once I have the photos on my big screen on my iPad, I can see everything better and compare which photo is better quality, which angle I like best. Sometimes I'll airdrop a few from the same angle just so I can compare the quality on my iPad. But once I go through that, I will heart the ones that I want to edit first, so when I open my editing apps, it's way easier for me to find the pictures. And now that I have this photo open in Retouch, I'm just going to start with the bottom left tool, which is the Objects tool. This is basically just a quick eraser. It will remove anything or blend it into the background. You can hit settings on the far right to change the size of the brush, but here I'm just showing you when the brush is on auto, it will remove things as you go along. I prefer to keep it on this setting because I can move quicker. But the other option is manual, where you will highlight things you want to remove, but you have to hit go for it to remove them. So neither are perfect, but auto is quicker to kind of correct your mistakes, so I keep it on that. There really is no right or wrong way to do this. It's just playing around with it and seeing what looks best. I never try to rush photos. I give myself time and I'm patient with it because I'd rather not upload something than upload a badly edited photo. And then now that I've done this eyelid, I will compare it to the before, which you do the top right button. And I just don't like it. I think it looks too edited and too blurred, and it just doesn't look like the rest of the skin texture. So I will undo everything and then I will start over. So I do this all the time where I finish one little area, which really only takes me like a minute or so, and then I zoom out and realize it looks off, so I undo everything and redo it. Usually I'll use like smaller swipes the second time I redo it and just do less edits overall. And then that looks much better. I'm not completely editing this photo. I just wanted to show you a few things. So I would probably tweak with it a little more before I actually posted that, but it's good enough for now. And then the next tool that I'm gonna show you is the clone stamp, which is on the bottom right when you're at the main screen. So this is really the only other feature that I use on this app, but these two together are all I need. So on the settings, you can change the brush size, the opacity, the hardness, which is also same for the other tool. I only use a clone stamp when the other brush is not working for me. So this is usually when they have hair that's going outside of my shape that I tattooed and the other tool isn't removing the hair like I want it to. I take a tiny little brush and just make little circles. So it basically copies and pastes whatever the brush is on. So it just blends it perfectly. It looks great, matches the skin tone right next to it. It's usually right underneath the arch or on the outside of the tail that I need to use the clone stamp. And then on Facetune, I really only need the free version because the only tool that I use is the smooth tool. So I will click the smooth tool. I always use the lighter one. I hate that Facetune doesn't show you where I'm going over, but just starting by her brow and then kind of going down her face, you can see it's gonna get a lot smoother. After I grab the smooth tool, I will usually grab the eraser and just make taps over where I went to bring some of that natural skin texture back, but not erase all of it. And now we're opening Procreate. Typically, I grab a square canvas because I make my photos on my Instagram page square. When I'm doing before and after photos or even other comparison photos, I will turn on the grid so I make sure everything's lined up. To do that, you tap the wrench in the corner. You can do a lot underneath that wrench, but you go down to canvas and then turn on the drawing guide. I always click edit drawing guide and adjust the grid size so it's easier for me to kind of see the halfway mark. If I am doing a before and after, I'll just do something where I can easily see a halfway mark. But if I'm doing like 3 photos or 4 photos, then I'll do 6 squares or 8 squares so I can line them up. And you can use the vertical lines and the horizontal lines to line up your photos. And then on Procreate, another feature I use a lot is layers. So layers are very nice when you know how to use them. So I'm just gonna show you on a tattoo template. This is a tattoo I did on my brother. So I just uploaded the photo he sent me, and then I had to trace that photo, so I added another layer on top of it so I could separate the two so I wouldn't get the background in my photo, which you can see. You can hide and show the layers by clicking the box next to them. So I'm going to show you the outline that I drew, hide my reference photo, and then I created other layers to show my brother how it would look like filled in. So you can do a lot with these layers. They're really easy to duplicate, to show and hide your layers, to change the size, move them around. I really encourage you guys to just mess around with the apps and find what features you like. These are just the main features that I use and I find necessary, but I'm sure these apps are capable of much more. And now I'm gonna turn on the grid and show you how to add a photo. So you go to the wrench and you click add a photo. Like I said before, I like to heart my photos that I want because there are so many in my camera roll usually. But now I'm going to line this up and show you how to crop a photo. So up on the top bar, the third button is sort of an S shape. So you click on that. And then on the bottom, you can select freehand if you want to remove like a tiny spot. But usually for the half and halves, I will choose rectangle. So you just select what you want to delete, and you can click the invert button if you had selected the bottom, but you want to remove everything but the bottom. You can like switch it off. When you open your layers in the corner, you have to click the current layer and then click clear. And so I'm gonna zoom in on the photo and do it again so you can kind of see. I just didn't find any collage apps that I really liked, so this is what works for me. Then I'll add my second picture, and instead of cropping this one, I'll just drag the layer underneath so I'm not left with any white spots in between the photos. And then to add my watermark, it's a PNG file, so you have to go to add a file, and then I add that. And I have a black and white watermark. Usually I use the white one. I will drag this layer to the top so that I can move the watermark wherever I want. And I'm going to show another example of cropping when I would use the freehand tool. So I'll open this tattoo template and I'm just going to hide the other layers so it's not overwhelming, which you do by checking the box next to them. And I'm going to select the bird and change the size of the bird. So if this pops up, that just means that you're not on the right layer. So I'm gonna click the layer button and then select the layer that is shown, and then click the cursor, which will select the bird. Now I can move it around, I can change the size, I can duplicate it, delete it, whatever. I can also do that with the text if I wanted to move the second line closer to the first or whatever. If you want to rotate it, there's so much you can do with this app. Okay guys, so here's my first before and after. So like I said, I like to heart my photos so I can find the ones that I want to edit easier. So I'm just gonna open one of those. This is a little sped up, but I will start with retouch and remove any redness, any splotches, any like wrinkles or lines. I don't remove all wrinkles because wrinkles are natural, but just like this is my sister and some of these wrinkles they just don't need to be there. I'll zoom in very close on the eyelid and remove any smeared makeup. If they have dirty lash extensions, I'll clean those up. I'll remove any like visible veins. Some people have very veiny eyelids, me included. Nothing bad about that, but I just like to keep my photos looking smooth and clean. So I start with my skin and then I kind of work my way inwards towards the brows. I just want it as natural and smooth looking as possible. I only try to remove big pores or pores that are like full of ink, but if they're smaller, I just leave them because I think it looks fine. I'm constantly zooming in and out, constantly hitting the before and after button. You really just have to take your time with this. And then here's the after photos for the brows. So I really try to not touch my work and keep my work as pure as possible. So I'll remove any hairs that are messing with my shape or any ink splatter, but I just kind of mess around, doing less is more. I was struggling to get this little area underneath the brow smooth, so instead of doing too much in that spot, because once you start to do too much, it will distort your shape, I'm going to undo everything and then pull up the clone tool. I use a small brush for the clone tool and just slowly make the bottom crisper by doing little circles. These edits work better when you're zoomed in more on the photo rather than zoomed out. You can just be more precise. This is also why I like my Apple Pencil rather than my finger. It just goes a lot quicker. I was taught to use a razor instead of tweezers for cleaning up before an appointment, so there are usually little hairs down here that bother me. And I just do little swipes, and then sometimes I'll even take the retouch tool and just kind of go back just so it blurs them together better. I'm more conservative when I remove hairs in person just because I've had so many brow artists remove too much hair. So I like to leave them a little bit more bushy. And then I'll always open the photo in the actual photo app to make sure that it's lined up correctly, that it's straight, because it's just easier to do in the photo app than it is on Procreate. And then I will open up Procreate and turn on the grid, and then I'll add the photos. So I'm just turning on the grid, and then I will add the photos to line them up, just cropping the first one and then adding the second one. Now I'm messing with the drawing grid just to make sure that it's lined up horizontally and vertically. And you could see I wanted to move that photo up. Once you crop a photo, you can see how the edges are outside of the canvas. It deletes the edges. So if you crop it too much, you saw I just inserted a new photo instead of trying to undo everything, because that just saves time. Then I go to add a file and add my watermark, and I'm just adjusting the layers to bring it to the top. And then to get it on my phone, I will select the photo, share, go to JPEG, and then I just airdrop it to my phone. I don't delete anything from Procreate. I like having everything still there. But once I got this photo onto my phone, I realized I wanted to do some smoothing, so I pulled up just the after photo in Facetune. I did not bring up the collage because it will distort the quality if you do it that way, so I will bring up just the after photo and smooth it, and then I will go back into Procreate and just replace it. It really does not take that much time, but it's so good to check your photos on every device just to make sure that it looks good. Really take your time, take pride in your photos, because they're showing off your brand. If you're feeling overwhelmed, it's really not that deep. Just save it for the next day. You should be consistent, but quality over quantity always. And then here's how I edit my videos. So this is mainly how I edit my TikToks and Instagram Reels. I do this on my phone. I used to just use the TikTok app, but I recently found this app CapCut, and it is so nice. So TikTok was putting like a weird filter over some of my videos, so I had to find something else to use. So on CapCut, you can crop each video lengthwise or size-wise, which is really nice. You just have more freedom with each of them. And when I crop, I try to remove any distractions in the background, and I want to make sure throughout the entire video it's in the right spot. So I'm constantly sliding to make sure that it stays in frame the whole time. Take your time, but don't overthink it. TikToks and Reels are usually pretty short, so just rewatch them. And as I was rewatching it, I realized that the transition wasn't very smooth and the zoom wasn't the same. So now I'm gonna go in and edit this a little bit. And now that I have both of them done, if you hit the box with the line in between the two videos, you can add a transition. So I don't really have any go-to transitions. I just see what I like for that video. You can remove the end screen on this app, and you can also add audio. I just didn't. I prefer to go see what the trending songs are on TikTok. Now I'm gonna open it up in TikTok and I will just edit off the end screen quickly. And like I said, I don't add audio because I wanna see what's trending on TikTok. But for this one, I had a song in mind that I've just had stuck in my head. So I searched it up and added it. Usually on TikTok, they only have a select part of the song available. So sometimes I get my audio from Instagram, but on TikTok, you hit the scissors and you edit what section of the song is playing. So you do that just by scrolling along the bottom, and I will listen to it so many times to make sure it's lined up perfectly with the transition. I'll try to find something with a beat drop or something around the transition. If I add text to a video, I usually do it on TikTok as well, and then I watch it over and over again. And when I'm done, I'll usually watch it a few more times on this screen, but I'll make the caption short and sweet. And then I'll add a few trending hashtags, which have the blue thumbs up next to them. And then I'll do maybe like PMU or nanobrows or whatever service it is, and then hashtag Minneapolis because that's my location. So I do less hashtags on TikTok and more on Instagram. I always have it saved to my phone and then I will separately upload it on Instagram Reels. Instagram doesn't like when you post videos with the TikTok watermark on it. So lately I've been kind of uploading the videos separately on Instagram and TikTok. Just Instagram doesn't have as many song choices as TikTok does. And then it'll open Instagram like that and I will X out and go to post, and then on the bottom hit Reels, and that's how you post a reel. I'll usually do similar hashtags or captions on there, but I tend to do more hashtags on Instagram. Now I'll show you how I do my single photo edits. So usually I'll open it up in photo and make it a square. Just so I'm not editing a huge photo, I don't need to. But then I'll open it up in Retouch and just do my thing on this app. This girl had a little bit more redness and more hair around her brows, but you can just see how good this app is. And like I said, zooming in so you can see the little hairs easier. Sometimes I'll go back and forth between Retouch and then I'll take it into Facetune and then bring it back to Retouch. But I find it really easy to edit while like watching TV at night. It really does not have to be totally consuming. And I feel less rush if I'm casually editing photos while watching a show rather than sitting down to just like rush and edit a photo. And I like to batch edit. I like to edit a few. If I'm not feeling it, I'll leave it half edited and come back to it another day. And then here's another photo, same thing, making it a square first, doing Retouch, Facetune, and then Procreate. And then here's another before and after. This is a lip photo, so I'm just gonna line up the photos to make sure that they're straight. And then I'm gonna get the after photo, also line it up, make sure that it's similar quality. And then I'm gonna open them in Retouch. I usually have to do a lot more work on the after photo than the before just because the ink gets everywhere and their face gets swollen. I'm trying to get better at cleaning up ink on their face, but I just get so distracted by my work. But then I'm gonna open it in Procreate. If I really wanted to edit the photos and the lighting to make them the exact same tone, I would open this up in Lightroom, but I just really didn't feel the need to with this picture. Her face is just red from the wiping and from the pigment. And then here's just a super quick look at me going over my photos. So I airdrop so many photos to my iPad, and then I will crop them, I will rotate them, like I will do a bunch just to see if I even want to edit it. I'm super critical of my work, but I take lots of pictures, so I have lots of options.
Okay guys, so that is how I edit my photos. I really hope you enjoyed and learned a lot. If you have any feedback or have any questions, need clarification on anything, please reach out over Instagram or email. I will put those on the screen again, but I really hope you enjoyed and I really appreciate you purchasing my class.